Hey everyone, welcome to my show. Be sure to hit like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch for all my exclusive content. Oh, how about now? Apparently I muted myself when I thought I was unmuting myself. Can you hear me now? Hey, there you go. So, good evening. Hi Ace. Hi Olympus. Hi Bel Air. Good thing we got that out of the way. New bugs. We have the only one I've been aware of so far is this one with the event store that were like this was overlapping and stuff like that. It's more so on mobile than on the PC client. The other one also on mobile has to do with the faction stores. If you go into your faction store for some reason on the mobile version, it's only showing in like columns of two. So it's only like two things or three things that fit on the screen. So you just have to scroll like forever to get to something that you actually want to see. Coalition G, thank you very much for resubscribing with Twitch Prime for month number 5. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. So there were those little minor graphic glitches, but those were more so on mobile than on the desktop version. If I switch to my BlueStacks later for my other account, you might be able to see it over there just to know what the heck I'm talking about. Can I do that? No, don't have any kills. Okay. But we do have the new arc did launch. It's gotten some mixed reviews right out of the box on day one because of a couple things that, people are not happy about. The mechanics of certain things, and it's pretty much exactly the opposite of what we would have wanted in certain areas. And what we said for weeks, hey, please don't do this, please don't do this. We know you're thinking about doing it like this, but please don't. And they did it anyway. And I'm sure it's a monetization thing. So we'll get into all that in just a couple minutes here. We got our gift day. I'm trying to save this now for at least for TC purposes or video purposes. So it gets captured what's actually in this thing. So you get 2 of each of the new officers plus shipyard directives for the new Texas class. Okay. We have epic Armada loot boxes now too. We'll get to those in a second. These are not going over very, very well right now. There's some good and some bad stuff going on in there. But let's take a look at our events first. So, your battle pass is in a new tab. That was throwing some people off this morning. Didn't see the battle pass launch because they didn't realize it was in a new tab. When the territory season, capture season starts, that should also be in here. Or so I'm led to believe. I'm going to check this domination event and see what's going on here. The actual battle pass, we get some of the new officers are in here. They also threw in 2 Mariner shards. I don't know why. Syndicate XP is here in milestone number 8. But we have a Syndicate event running right now, which is also interesting. And there's some more Syndicate XP out here in the bottom half of milestone 16. But we have our Syndicate Advancement event going on right now. This one has a couple of the old officers, and Neelix, and the new Shax is in there as well. The milestones went up. The milestones went up again. And just to give you something for comparison, stfc.space also now has the regular website, now has the events tab back. So you don't need to use Ripper's bootleg site anymore. You can just use the regular one. If we go with Syndicate and we search and say the last 7 days, I don't think there's been one in the last 7 days. Yeah, this is the one that's currently going on. If I go back last 30 days, all right, so here's the other one. That's not quite right. That's missing a comma. Or, oh no, never mind. It's going the wrong way. Okay, it's going down. So there's our milestones for the Syndicate and the Doctor event. 47,000 for first milestone, 118,000 for the second milestone. Now we're talking about 75,000 and 188,000. That's a significant increase, almost 50% in each of the two milestones, with the final milestone being 750,000 XP instead of 586,000 XP. So this is a big increase in those payouts. There's also some other snapshots. Interesting how they're doing this now. If we go back to the previous one from back here, it's the same one, same layout, same milestones and everything. So, yeah, they definitely pumped up the volume on this one a little bit for sure. And it's not even like they're giving out that much more in shards, right? What did the other one give out? It gave out 6 Doctor and 3 or 4 Harry Kim right away at the first milestone, and this is giving out 3 epics and 1 rare. And it's, 150% what you would have had to give out last time. So you're spending more and getting less value, essentially. Not a good way to start off the month. We have our complete new missions. This over here, Friends in High Places, is our month-long SMS, our meta event. Complete the events, get the points. You get 15 points, and you get 30 shards for ransom. I don't think that's enough to actually unlock him. Although, I'll be honest, I didn't check. I can't imagine it is. Rares usually need more than 30 shards. Nope, he only does take 30. Would you look at that? Okay, so good old Admiral Freeman over here. Gonna get bumped up right off the bat for 30 shards. Okay. That's pretty cool. So I'm guessing we'll have one of these events every day, and you don't even have to do all of them because it's a 20-day milestone, but you only need 15 points. So you'll have a little bit of latitude, a little bit of leeway if you happen to miss an event. Today's event, aptitude assessment, kill any hostile, get 1 point. Kill 60 hostiles. You get double points if you kill Borg probes. Just like the tactical simulation that Boimler did in that very fun episode. This one over here is a Monaveen-based event, but you don't have to use the Monaveen to kill Texas-class hostiles. If you only have a G3 ship, it is very difficult to do these. We proved that last month, but it is still certainly possible to kill 1 or 2. But in this case, there is 1 point per hostile. Just go kill 100 level 15 swarms or whatever the case. It'll take you 20 minutes and you're done. Probably just set a thing auto grinding in the system too, and that might count for it, and leave it overnight. And you log in tomorrow, it'll be dead, and you'll be done. Conqueror SLB. This is another month-long event for doing the battle pass and for killing hostiles and stuff, gaining officer shards. But the only payout here is an avatar. It's only going out to the top 5 places either. To me, there's very little incentive to do this. If I happen to accidentally finish in the top just by doing all my regular normal stuff, cool. But I'm not going to be out there like grinding hostiles or buying packs and things like that to get officer shards to get additional scoring points. And the fact that there are people who have, 90,000 points already. I think you can get 40,000. It's 20,000 for doing today's event. And then if you do your battle pass, that's like another couple thousand points. I think that's another 20,000. So that gets you to like 40k. And anything above 40k means that you gained officer shards or you've been grinding hostiles. So if these people have been grinding a couple of hostiles, maybe this guy bought a pack to give him an extra officer or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Freeman's okay. He's okay. He's got some uses. We'll talk about him in a little bit. We go through all the officers. But this event, meh. Just kind of meh. Let's look at our overflow. Our overflow has no officer shards in it. None. Yet again. This is a new prime that was released. Prime Armada loot bonus. It increases your rewards in G4 and the new G5 Armada credit bundles. And if you purchase this prime, in addition to all the stuff that comes along with it, you will then also get this pack here, which has additional materials relative to your ops level, which is just all crystal and titanium. Olympus, you're confirming auto grinding does work for the events. So if you want to leave out, there you go. Even better. If you want to just park a hostile in, augment space or something like that and just get your kills that way, or your Monaveen get the kills that way, you can do that too. So yeah, so this is the reward in the credit bundles. Gonna have to go look at what exactly it says that it's boosting. Our mission key hunter is there, so make sure you go to the website, claim your mission keys, which just get you more Rikers and Wharfs, but also get you more trial bells. More trial bells equal more trials that you can run, which might equal a little more proto matter and a little bit more of the building upgrade materials. Actually, it's more of the tier up material, isn't it? For doing the extra dailies and stuff. Multiphasic is also giving out Odo shards yet again, so if you need to get some multiphasic credits, you can pick up a handful more of Odo shards. And that is it for our new events. We do have a double ship event going on right now, which I'm going to do, which is also going to finish up my battle pass event. So hang on one second. Let's find a ship we can throw some ship XP into. Sure. There's 370. And that should do it. There's my 20,000 for that. There's the first one. There's the second one. Awesome. And we finished our battle pass event as well. Did they already buff? Oh, the prime. Yeah. We gotta go look at that prime in just a second here. The other thing you'll have noticed, so it was just a two-parter, like we thought it was. It was only going to be Lower Decks Part 1 and Part 2. You may have noticed that the events this time around are giving out this currency, these replicator rations, which are used over here in your event store tab, in your replicator rations bundle. These are Dabo pulls, for lack of a better term. This is exactly the Dabo wheel we saw and we've seen in previous, I almost wanted versions. We're not gonna use that ugly I word. We're gonna say previous versions. Uh, they all have the same officers available. You've got your 3 new officers and Garrick, because obviously Garrick relates to lower decks in such a very thematic way. Each pull costs 6,000. There is no I button here, so you do not know what your drop rates are and your chances of getting any of this stuff. What your chances are of getting an officer. Is it a 50-50 Dabo wheel where you might get an officer 50% of the time? Is it less than that? Who knows? No info button. It's been brought up several times. Why is there no info buttons on these things? But, just might as well just bang your head against the wall on that one. They all seem fairly similar in terms of resources and payouts. Although, is the crystal one still doubled? The crystal one is still doubled. So you get double the amount of crystal. So if you're thinking of that or you need crystal for upgrades, this is a good one to pull because it's got 545 and mine has 545 and 1,000 versus the gas and ore ones, which have 300 and 550. So you got a lot more crystal being paid out than the other 2 resources. The away team one looks pretty standard and pretty generic. Not really excited by this one. Even the trait XP looks kind of minimal. This is like less than a daily. But the one that does have me excited is the territory one. Because this amount right here, 1.4 million for me, I know other people have higher numbers, other people are going to have lower numbers based on your ops level. These things here certainly going to help out with reclaiming territories and all of that fun stuff. But getting large amounts of this stuff for research is huge. This will save you weeks or months, possibly, in terms of completing territory research. The old research, forget about the new research. We'll get to that later too. But there ain't much to get to. But finishing up a lot of your old researches takes a ridiculous amount of it. Also, if you happen to be one of the lucky people who get in an alliance who gets a territory where you can source the Monaveen blueprints, hint, spoiler alert, there's only 3 of them. Just like the jellyfish, you have to convert isogen into Monaveen blueprints. And if it follows the same pattern, there will be a 1 chest pull of, I think it was 1 chest for like 5,000. And then the jellyfish is like, actually, we don't have it. I can't look at it. 1 chest pull, let's just say hypothetically, the 1 chest pull is like 5,000. Or you can get 5 blueprints for like 45,000. And then it was like 15 blueprints, but it was like 1 million. It was like, okay, well, this is a ridiculous number. But if you have a crap ton of it from doing this stuff, don't know how many we're going to get, but you can have potentially 50 million isogen, well, plus the half, probably closer to about 70 million of this isogen. If you can do triple pulls of that, you will source your Monaveen a heck of a lot faster. Because if you're, again, following the same pattern of the jellyfish, you're looking at, 5 blueprints per week for the middle option. You need 200. That's 40 weeks. That's 9 months. Just over 9 months to source the ship, which means you'll have the new ship right around like mid-July of 2024. Yeah, Olympus, there's only 3. Yeah. Uh-oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome on in. I hope you've all been sufficiently lubed up and you are ready to come hang out with us here. Thank you very much, Lube. I hope you had a good stream. I know you were going through a lot of stuff. I had to dip out to go eat some dinner. But thank you very much for sending everybody on over here. Right now, we are just going through our event store, talking about our different Dabo pulls and how advantageous this replicator pack is compared to the other ones because of the large amounts of ISO emulsion. Now, Olympus did point out that at Ops 41, I'm sorry, at Ops 40, his only has 150,000 in it, but that's still a very big number. Relatively speaking, if you're talking about being able to do research and potentially needing to convert these, if you happen to be in one of the 3 alliances that gets the territory with the Monaveen blueprints, and you can do the conversion, having extra isogen from these bundles will allow you to accelerate that process. Aloha, Dr. Iron Chef. Thank you very much for the 100 bits. Hope you're doing well. So, all right, now, and there's Cap Jesse throwing in 100 bits and kicking off a hype train. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Good evening, Barkman. Welcome on in. Excellent. So, yes, for those of you who missed it, our 3-star territories got a bit of an overhaul. The Alpha system now has 5-star mining nodes in it. Awesome. They moved the 4-star mining to Beta, and then you've got your 3-star mining still in Gamma. You'll also notice that we have our new Monaveen construction yard, allowing you to purchase for cashing in ISO emulsion in the territory store once per week. Ace, thank you for throwing in 100 bits, not being left behind. I appreciate that. Jesse kept you up way too late. Okay. He's usually up very late. That surprises me that Jesse would be up later, especially with that extra 2 hours he's got to work with, right? That time zone difference. But Stewie's going to send me a picture of his bits. Wouldn't be the first time. So only 3 of, very much, again, we're doing exactly what we did with the jellyfish. When the jellyfish first came out, only 3 of the territories had the jellyfish constructor. They later went back after 6+ months of people complaining about it and added it to all of them instead. But 3 of them have it. Makala has it. I think Brelin is the other one. Brelin has one. And is it Corva? Yes, Corva has it. And these are so conveniently spaced so that they're not near each other. Because what, pray tell, is in the other 3-star systems? Well, that's where you have the ability to source your new chronometric particle generator. And these are so strategically spaced so that it is possible for one alliance to hold both buffs at the same time. You can go Nurheim to Brelin. You can go Brelin across the bottom to Barassa. You can go Corva across the middle here to Tholis, or Tholis to Makala. You know, there are different options for how Nurheim maybe even can reach Makala. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, you can do it. So there are ways that you can stretch across the map if you are one of the highest alliances and able to pull it off, to have 2 3-star systems, and thus would have both buffs active. And I'm sure this is the big grand plan to create conflict, as you have the top alliances kind of trying to stretch for it. But in all honesty, it's not really going to work out the way they want to, because you're going to have your your top 2 or 3 whale alliances, or your coalitions, that are kind of dictate terms to everybody else. Hey, we're taking this area, and you really can't stop us because we've got a bunch of level 60s, or, because there's 3 or 4 alliances in our group, and we're just going to flood the systems and kind of max it out so nobody can really do anything in there. And they're going to dictate what systems they get and kind of control the map. I think people refer to them before as like the kingmakers. It's kind of be the thing. And everybody else will just get whatever little pieces of territory that they can get, where they won't source the new particles and they won't source the new ship blueprints. And, you'll have what? At best, 300 people able to source the new ship if you didn't buy it. And that's assuming, of course, that, those alliances are maxed out. Most alliances have, 75 to 80 players. So either you're going to see more consolidation as smaller alliances merge and get gobbled up into some of the bigger alliances, strictly because of this, which isn't always necessarily a good thing either. So this is definitely a bad thing. This was about as bad as I could get. I was fuming. I already knew it was bad when we found out that they were only going to put the Monaveen blueprints in the 3-star. And even worse when we found out that it wasn't going to have an alternate sourcing, like the jellyfish, which is also in the Armada chests. It was just, you've got just these systems. And then when we found out this morning upon release that it's only in 3 of them, that was about as disappointed as I've been in a very long time. And I already have the ship. I bought it. I bought it last month. You guys got mad at me for buying it last month. But I did it because I knew something was going to go wrong and something was going to be bad, and it wasn't going to be an easy thing to get. It's just my experience of being around this game for this long. So we're talking about 9+ months for free to play to source it if you're in one of those alliances, and you can hold the territory for that long, right? Or oh, well, what did we have? Did they take it down? It was up this. Oh, because I already have it. They won't show it to me on this account. You should have a pack for $99 in the store right now to buy the Monaveen. Now that you found out what terrible sourcing it's going to have, you have your chance to give them $100 and just buy it and not have to worry about it. So let's catch up on chat here for a second. Iron Chef, you were still on Mountain Time? Okay, I got you. Evening Lightning Hawk, welcome on in. Stewie and Barkman going at it. Always fun. Eric, R2D2, welcome on in. First time being here. Thanks for coming on over. Whale alliances probably are filled with the type of player that has already purchased the ship. Yeah, that's the other problem, Stewie, is that, the whale alliances that are going to dictate controlling the places, there's, I would say, maybe a third of their members probably already have the ship. So now you cut that number even smaller. So if you've got 75 people in an alliance, 25 of them probably already bought it. So now you're going to put another, 40 or 50 people that are even eligible to start sourcing it. Are all of them even 40 plus? Because you probably can't buy the blueprints until your Ops 40. So all the players who are still in their 30s aren't going to be able to buy the blueprints, which means they're waiting to catch up. So now maybe it's being a little wasted. And they've got to hold that territory longer. We also know that you need, what do we say, realistically, 8 to 9 months. If it's the same sourcing rate, which we won't know, we won't really find out until Saturday when somebody actually claims one of these and we can actually see what the sourcing rate is for the refinery. But if it's the same as the jellyfish and you're talking about 9 months, well, territory resets every 3 months, which means now you're losing a week because it's the reset week, right? Maybe. But you also then have to fight to reclaim the territory. So there's somewhere in there that's going to get all messed up. And it's just going to be even more difficult. Are you going to lose that territory for a week or two, somewhere in the middle of that, fighting over with these other alliances? And I know what it is. Profit. War is good for profit, right? We all know that. Peace is good for profit too, though. Deathblade, on your server, the 2 coalitions are taking the 2 Monaveen spots, but have gifted the 3rd to an alliance since we are neutral to both. Safe haven for their members that get burned out on PvP stuff. Well, that's awfully nice. Again, that kingmaker mentality of dictating who gets the 3rd spot. And then, of course, you'll have the thing where players are going to have to do what they did with the jellyfish, right? You're going to have to, drop your alliance probably on Tuesdays when there's no territory fights. You drop out of your alliance Tuesday morning or Tuesday at event reset after Latinum Rush ends, and you get your rewards for that. Hop into the alliance, go ahead and claim your Monaveen blueprints, then drop and go back to where you came from. That's if you have a good relationship with one of the alliances that has it, and they're willing to let you hop over. And then you kind of have to be like a bit of a revolving door, right? How many empty slots do they have? How many people can, 3 guys drop alliance, move over, then they go back, then they have to drop and wait 8 hours before they can go back where they came from. And everybody else keeps hopping, and that alliance is now kind of handicapped for all of Tuesday as more and more of their members keep moving over to grab their blueprints. Yeah. Exactly, Peleus. Yep. Yeah, you're going to have to do some alliance hopping. Hoping you can buy the ship in the next event store. Well, that's always a possibility, too. Is that in December, when we get an event store, maybe the ship will be available in there? I don't know that I would count on it, though. I would say maybe in whatever event store we have in the spring of 24, maybe they'll put the Monaveen in that one. But I feel like they're not going to want to put it in this upcoming event store because that's going to sort of violate the exclusivity period for the people who have spent $100 on it, that they're not going to have it exclusive to them for as long as they should have compared to other things, compared to what free-to-play players would be getting it if it's just in an event store where they can just cash in currency for it. Belair on Ops 49, you're getting 687,000 emulsion per bundle. That's a pretty good number. Max and Scrap, you're spending less and less each month due to their tactics. Okay, you guys are saying that you can get the blueprint starting at 39. Well, that's nice. Taking the tour on your server. Yeah. So am I saying if you have it in the store, just buy it? I mean, that's up to you, is whether or not you feel like the ship and the rewards you get for it are worth it. It's a lot of basic resources that you do get on a daily basis, way more so than you get from the Franklin or the Franklin A, even with the enhanced refinery from the X-Borg store for the regular Franklin. Like, I don't know if I can, I think I did my pulls. I don't think I can show. No, I did my pulls for today, but I can tell you, I think I got 50 billion par steel, or 49 billion par steel is what I have on tier 4 here, compared to, this is 3.5 billion, and this, even with maxed out enhancement, isn't even a billion. Maybe that's 1.8, and that's 300. 18,000. Yeah, I think that's right. Or is that 18 million? Let's just do the math. My math head's not working so good today. It is 1.8 billion. Okay, so 1.8, so 2.1 billion here, which is about the same as I get over here. This is 3.5 billion. Or my Monaveen, which gives me 49 billion at tier 4. So these are drastically higher. I think my titanium gives me like 8 billion, and I think I get like 2 or 3 billion in dilithium. And this is every day from the Queen's favors. So it's a lot more resources. if you're having trouble upgrading ships or upgrading buildings because of those resources. You also get, if you do the armadas, you get these things, which then let you convert it into ops appropriate level basic resources like twice a week. So the path is certainly, I mean, I'd hold off until Saturday before I decide whether or not, see what the actual, how many you can source and what the cost is going to be once someone posts the data. And then kind of project the math that even if your alliance held one of these systems, how long would it or you had access to it from a friendly alliance who holds it, how long would it take you to be able to get this thing? And if that timeline is unreasonable to you and you're thinking about the billions of resources you could be getting between now and then, is that worth $100 to you? And then make your own decision from there. Because I'm speculating, I'm forecasting it's going to be similar to the jellyfish, and then therefore it's going to take you, 8 or 9 months to unlock it free to play. And then you have to start tiering it up. Devious, you're sure they said there's an event store at the end of this arc? Well, this is the event store that they were talking about. Now, there may be another one in December where we get a regular event store based on whatever happens over the next 2 months, and may circle back to have some of these officers from the lower deck options in it. But as far as like this month right here, this is our event store. This is a mini event store. This is the Dabo event store. And this is all we're getting this month. Hey, Captain Jack, thank you for the follow. Cookie, also thank you for the follow. And Asher, thank you for the follow earlier. Resources looking good, Shorty King. Welcome on in, by the way. They're good amounts of resources. If you think about, if you spend $100 for the ship, how do the resources pay out? And then you go look at, like your October reward pack. Well, what's in my October reward pack? What's in my Elite Daily? I get 50 billion a day every day clicking this token. I get way less titanium and dilithium though. But I also get some of these other materials and stuff too, and speed ups. But this I have to spend $100 for every month. Whereas if I just needed this stuff, the Monaveen, I'm spending $100 for once. So it does have a long-term upside to it if you are in a spot where you need these resources to upgrade stuff. If you're still in your 30s, you probably don't need this stuff. You can't build the ship anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. If you're just getting into your 40s and suddenly you're seeing that drastic jump in costs where you're like, you're level 41, 42, and you're trying to upgrade Voyager, you're trying to upgrade your Talios and your Defiant, and every component costs like 2 or 3 billion titanium, and you're like, oh my god, I don't have, how do I source billions of titanium when my dailies and missions give me like 800,000? Now, the Monaveen isn't going to do that for you at Ops 41 or 42. Your refineries are going to be a bit lower. There's a chart for it. I'm sure it's on the STFC officer tool chart screen. I'm sure there's one here. Let's go find it. Nope, that's not the right one. I need... Here we go. This is the one that I want. Let's pull this over. Okay, so even at Ops 4041, you're talking about 3.5 billion par steel, 290 million titanium. 2 or 3 days of doing this, now you've got $1 billion. Now you can do a Voyager component, once a week or something like that, instead of however much longer it would take you to save up to do this kind of stuff. 55 million dilithium. It's a lot of research that you start to do in your 40s that costs 50, 100 million dilithium per research. Now you can start doing some of those. So there are certainly some opportunities and some upsides to it, but at the same point in time, one, I get it. It's a $100 investment, and people are tired of spending money on these little one-trick little loops that they just seem to keep creating and rigging the system for. And two, I certainly get the sentiment that it rewards them making the path this difficult to begin with, that we're then going to take the $100 shortcut and just buy the ship to get out of it. And if people, if enough people don't buy it, then maybe they'll realize the error of their ways, and maybe they'll expand it and put it at least in all 6 systems, and then people will be less likely to spread out. They'll probably change that down the road anyway. It maybe not the first, we start here October, the new season starts in January. Probably not the January season, but maybe the April season. They'll mix up these buffs and possibly put all, the new particles and the Monaveen blueprints in all of the 3-star systems. And that'll make the alliance hopping have to happen a little less. That'll make people less interested in holding multiple 3-star systems. I mean, obviously you'll still want it for the mining aspect of it, but there's also plenty of new mining systems out in the Delta Quadrant that are easier to get to as well. So there's a lot of stuff going around. And we don't have any other really... I didn't notice if there were any other additional new buffs that were added. I thought I heard something about a couple of them. About new ones coming up for like isolytic defense and isolytic damage bonuses and stuff, but I could be wrong about that. Or maybe those will be coming down the road. So we talked about a good thing so far with the mini event store and the ability to source materials for the new research, or for just research in general. Let's look at that territory research. Scrapping speed increase. Was that a territory I just clicked on? I didn't even realize it. I think I was in Tazera. Let's go back. Ganon, his eagle eyes over there. Eyeless. And of course now I can't remember where Eyeless is. Well, maybe we'll find it in another system. Particle efficiency enhancer. This is a new one. Lowers the research cost using your particles by 20%. That's a new buff. Is it Abalak? Yep, scrapping speed enhancer. There it is. Increases base scrapping speed up to 60% based on your ops level. Most players will be in here getting a 30% increase, which is still pretty huge because there's not a lot of other things that are adding to scrapping speed. If you happen to be one of those G5 players who are scrapping G3 epics for materials all the time, you'll get a 60% uptick there. That's a good service. That's a good service. So they did sneak in a couple of new buffs into some of these systems. I feel like somebody posted a graphic this morning. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if it's in the graphics room. So I found a chart. Hang on a second. Let me just see if this is when this was updated. I don't know if this has all the new ones yet. Nah, it doesn't look like it has all the new ones yet. Okay. So there are some new buffs you'll have to kind of go through tonight, I guess, and figure out where you want to try and move your alliance to. And what kind of buffs you're working with in 1-star, 2-star systems. Also don't know why it's showing me that unless there's a whole lot of armadas going on in all of these different systems. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Lube, there's a new TC planning chart somewhere. I was just looking on the NCC 1887's list, but I didn't see the new chart. Let me go back and see if I can. The site has a lot of ads on it. It's just like all ads. It's in your channel? All right. Well, let's go check out the STFC officer tool. Oh, Jules Verne. What's this crazy kid posting? Well, hey, would you look at that? Here's your territory master planner. You can pick out which buffs and things you want. It'll show you the different services and stuff. Okay. Yeah, looks like we do have some new stuff on here. Energy weapon boost, kinetic weapon boosts, chronometric particles, etc. You can kind of see what'll be in different sectors of the map when your territory schedule is. So this is a very handy thing to have. And this looks like this is where some of the new stuff is. Kinetic weapon enhancer, cloaking duration boost, PvP isolytic damage boost, particle efficiencies, Monaveen construction, chronometric particles. Okay, so not too many systems have new things being added here. This is on the STFC officer tool, which is the second largest Discord server in the Star Trek Fleet Command universe, and is your best buddy in terms of finding all of your charts and data collection. You know, if you're only in 2 or 3 Discord servers, this is a good one to be in because there's all kinds of charts. Basically, every chart that Jules Verne and Blue Mandalorian have ever put together and will ever put together are all housed here in one very easy to find location. In addition to having access to the officer tool itself and the battle log tool that Stewie and Lube put together, you know, for when the website's not, you know, for when Spock's Club isn't working and you want to upload a battle log, well, or if you just want to do it on your own PC, you can do it very easily to their tool. You can plan your away team missions and which officer skills and traits you're going to need to start investing and upgrading next out of the officer tool. A lot of good stuff over there. Let's see, for those of you who have not joined that yet, that would be the link that you would need to go to. That will bring you onto the STFC officer tool. So please feel free to click that link right there that I just posted and go ahead and sign up. Yeah, it's like they tried to realized like, hey, we're screwing over a lot of the smaller alliances, so we'll give them some of these extra little, you know, new nodes. Some of these new buffs we'll throw their way in a few of these 1-star systems. But our first territory fights kick off tomorrow, and then we'll see where everybody's going and how they all sprawl across the map. And then we get to sit back, watch the fireworks, enjoy it for 2 or 3 months, and then it'll get reset and start all over again in January. Now, also launching tomorrow is the new season pass of the territory conflict fight. From what I read, it looks like you will earn points by participating in takeover events, and whether you're actively attacking or trying to defend, and by having ships in there for minutes, i.e. you're in there for a number of minutes, which is how you accumulate points for your alliance's scoreboard. You will get points for whatever the season pass is here. And the season pass will have a free track and a paid track. I think it's a $50 paid track, I think is what Eco said this morning. And both tracks will have the new particles. The new chronometric particles will be in that pass. So even if you don't get one of these 3-star territories, the 3 of them that actually have the chronometric particles, enhancer or refinery generator, that's what I'm looking for, particle generator in there, you will still have an opportunity to earn them through that season pass there. But don't get too excited, because the researches that they have in here aren't all that great. There are some field tech stuff in there too, yes. But the new researches that they added, so they added these 5 or 6 right here. You get this one that increases your efficiency, so it's going to make your stuff cheaper to do. Awesome. This is a bigger increase than the one in the X-Borg tree, because the X-Borg tree one here moves up fairly slowly and it maxes out at 50% at level 10. This new one that they added in here starts out at a 10% upgrade and it goes all the way to 100% with a big jump from 9 to 10. So you can get even more of a reduction, making these things cheaper to do, which for those of you who aren't quite there yet, some of these are kind of ridiculous. Like this one here is 450,000. If I can reduce that a little bit, 300,000, 200,000, whatever, get it, whatever I can get it down to, I will absolutely take it and run. That will enable me to finish up a lot of this older stuff faster. And then I can devote my materials into some of the higher level stuff or some of this newer stuff. These particular ones right here, these lower the cost of the particles. So each research needs one of these 3 different particles. These corresponding researches here lower the cost of those. We also saw that there was a territory buff that also does this and lowers the cost of these particles needed for the research. In my experience, if you've been playing the game for a while, you probably have way more particles and enough to do these things. What's holding you back usually is like, I need 640, I've got 35,000. Like, this isn't holding me back. When I need 460,000, that's about a week's worth of accumulation there. That's holding me back. And this one improves the 4th particle, the Metreon particle. So these 4 are all the different particles. This one, God only knows why, what they were thinking here. Well, we're going to have more territory fights, so we're going to need to make the sarcophagus better. So here you go. You can get 200% increased mitigation for your sarcophagus. Not really going to matter when your 5 or 10 million sarcophagus is getting walloped by a, 50 million or I'm sorry, 500 million G5 ship. It's not really going to make much of a difference there. But hey, what's the new efficiencies applied to? Territory capture. Are they only referring to the new researches, maybe? It's not going to apply to some of these other ones, maybe? I don't know. I think they're all in the territory tree. I don't see it being subdivided, but I suppose it's always possible. Who knows? God only knows what exactly these efficiencies are going to apply to. If they're only going to apply to the new stuff, well, then that makes it even less exciting of an upgrade. You get further out here, and this is the rest of the tree that they added in. These are boosts to mining speed. They're all the same. You could potentially get up to 400% for crystal, gas, and ore. These are all the same for protected cargo of faction mining ships. So the Nova would not get a boost here. I don't believe so. Getting up to this small percentage of protected cargo for each one. You're boosting warp speed. You're boosting hull and shield health again, because we need more hull and shield health. Another 400%, just like those primes they just sold us last month. And then you keep going and you got officer health. This one's giving you more broken ship part drops, which again is like having, an extra 30%. That's like having the doctor or Beverly or somebody below deck to improve all of this stuff. You come out here, this is doing more isolytic damage. A 30% increase in isolytic damage for each faction ship. And then, after you learn how to do the damage, well, then you learn how to do the defense. And this gives you a 42% reduction in defense. But since we know that defense works as like an efficiency, whereas offense is just a base multiplier, 42% is probably close to, well, no, it's probably less than, still less than, 30% damage bonus versus 42% damage reduction. The 30% damage bonus is probably still slightly coming out ahead, but it's close. And then at the end here, you get an extra bonus damage to weapon damage against stations. So, old ones don't say territory capture, and you see the new ones have. The new ones do require this additional material. And maybe the efficiency is only applying to these new ones. It could be. This one has a different icon on it too. We also get more mining speed for Isogen because we need to mine that faster. As well as this one here, which actually could actually be potentially, it could have been valuable because it's a base damage reduction up to 70%. And obviously reducing base damage is going to lower what everything else, isolytic cascade and all that other stuff and criticals and hull breaches and stuff, they're all a multiplier off of, damage. So if you lowered the base damage, you're lowering what then gets multiplied by all those other things. But there's also so many other things that boost weapon damage in the game at this point, between artifacts and researches and buildings and things, that I just don't know how much of an impact this is going to do. It'd be fun to test. So the new research is, not anything to be all up in arms about missing out on. Some nice stuff, a few nice things that are helpful, but I just don't know that, it'd be worth buying packs to source any of that stuff, or, buying packs to upgrade ships or spending trillions of titanium and repair bills to make sure that your alliance has that 3-star territory so you can get those new particles. I don't know that there's enough upside in the new researches that they added for what they're hoping people will do. Well, we'll have to see what else is in that seasonal pass before we know for sure. Pileus, thank you for stopping by. Hope to see you again sometime soon. Yeah, I mean, if that's all that's in that season pass, it could certainly be bad. If there's other things in it, like if they're going to sprinkle in some officer shards or some ship parts or repair speed ups, I don't know, whatever else they're going to put in there that might at least make things more interesting. But overall, it's not very impressive. Shorty, when should you use away team speed ups? Only when there's an event, is the short answer. Or when you accidentally send an officer out on an away team and you really need that officer back to go do something. Otherwise, you kind of just bank the speed ups. Hi, Lord Hollywood. Yes, you are late, but it's okay. We still got another hour to go. All right. So we've been kind of flip flopping back and forth between good, bad, good, bad. Territory research, kind of been on the ugly side. Let's talk about Syndicate, because this is a good change, although it's going to be a very long time before it's actually going to impact most of us. So Syndicate used to stop at level 35. At level 30 is where your generators and stuff start turning on and giving you these big additional bonuses to hull health and shield health, and then eventually damage boosts. And then this was it. You got all your Mavery shards, you maxed out your Mavery, and you were done. Well, today we got 10 new levels, going from 36 all the way to 45. You're getting Forbidden Tech gifts, getting the unlock of Agamus. We'll talk about that with the Forbidden Tech. Also getting a whole lot of proto matter and those kinds of things for leveling up here. No officer shards being given out anymore. There are no new Syndicate officers that they added. I think DJ had said something about originally they were going to put like the Doctor in here and give out more shards of the Doctor, but that didn't happen. You've got attack bonuses, warp speed bonuses, more hull health, more rewards, more faction points, another preset. Out here at level 40, you get this Fleet Commander slot. That will give you another active Fleet Commander slot. So if you have multiple Fleet Commanders, you can have more of them active at once. But by the time anybody gets to Ops level 40, into Syndicate level 40, who the heck knows how long this is going to take. In fact, let's go look at the chart, because I wonder if it's here. Where is the Syndicate chart? Okay, so let's see if this was updated yet. So I'm currently down here at about level 29. I need 400,000 to get to level 30. That's at 2.6 million. Level 35, which was the cap, is right here at 4.75 million. So I'm still 2 million away from going from level 30 to 35. That's 2 million Syndicate XP at the rate of, 6 or 7,000 a day. Between my Mantis, my chests. Yeah, let's just say I'm getting 6,500 a day, and I need 2 million. If I'm doing double pulls with my Mantis and everything like that. That's still 307 days. Now, obviously, you get other things. There's other reward bundles. The Flash Pass gives a couple thousand. The Battle Pass gives a couple thousand here and there. So it's not going to take a full year to get there, but even if it's 8 or 9 months, that's only getting me the 2 million I need to go from 30 to 35. And now what do I need to go from 35 to 40? Well, we were what, 4.75? And to get all the way to 40 here, it's 7.43. So that's another 2.7 million, which is another 300 days. Yikes. It's a long time. And just in case you want to keep going after that, there's 5 more levels after that give more forbidden tech stuff, more faction points gained, more daily rewards, more faction daily rewards, more officer stats. Going all the way out here until eventually you're getting these final rewards. And level 45 would cost you 7.4 million, going all the way to 11 million now. Well, that's about 4.5 million, which now puts you at a whopping probably 350 to 400 days. So yeah, this is like a 2026 problem for a lot of people getting to this point. So while it's great that they added these new things in it and that they expanded the bonuses and things, this is like the 1% of the 1% that are actually going to benefit from this expansion. Or you're going to have to be one of those people who just saves all your multi-phasic credits from any of your other purchases and just uses them on Syndicate events. When you have events like your event store that comes around and you have the option to buy 10 or 20 Syndicate bundles every event store, that's what you're going to cash in your event store currency on. That's going to have to be your number one priority if you want to move up through these things without spending real money. Because there's always Syndicate Elite packs here available. What are we getting here? 75,000 for $100? Well, how convenient, because I need 7.5 million. So I only need to buy, what, 100 of these? Yeah. I just need to buy 100 of these packs. Oh, at $100 a piece. That would be a whopping 10 grand? No. 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 Maybe some people are already there. Maybe some people are in financial situations where they can afford to do that. I'm not. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say many of you aren't either. And if you are, awesome, great for you. Whatever you've done in life to get to this point, congratulations. Keep doing it. It's obviously working out really well for you, and you spend your money however you see fit. But that, in my mind, from my perspective, from my lifestyle, that is a ridiculous price point. So that will very likely just be one of those things that you just work on over the next year, 18 months. You just keep chipping away at, keep working up, tearing up that mantis to get a little bit higher. You know, keep getting some extra bonuses, keep getting your battle pass, and just chip away at it a little bit here, a little bit there, and basically just forget that those upper milestones even exist. And Alicia, you know someone has already done it? Probably. I'm sure there are people who were already capped at 35 who saw these new expansions come out today and went, well, for them it's a lot closer. They don't need to spend that much because they've already gotten to 35. 35 to 45. Maybe it's a little less for them. Maybe they haven't. That's the thing too. Is obviously you don't have to spend 10 grand on it because you're getting, every time you buy a pack, you're getting multi-phasics. So then you come over here and this is another 570 per multi-phasic. And if you get, well, let's say You get 17,500. I think it's 17,700. So we'll round 17,700 multiphasics per $100 pack. Divided by 500. You get 35 and a half pulls per $100. We'll round that down to 35, just for simplicity's sakes. 570 XP per 20,000 Syndicate XP. So for you buy 75,000 for $100, you get the multiphasics, you dump all the multiphasics into Syndicate XP, you get an extra 20,000. So now you're getting like 95,000 per pull. That'll obviously save you 25-30%, which obviously would add up over a long period of time for sure. And if you space it out and time it right, and you can get all the extra rewards and benefits from Syndicate enhancement events. You know, you buy a pack or two every time this event comes around and pick up all these extra officer shards. And the extra materials that come along with the packs. It's not just Syndicate XP you're getting. That's how they rationalize. That's how you rationalize it, right? That's how you justify it. I'm getting more than just that. I did it for the event. I did it to get the other parts, to do some building upgrades and stuff too. So there are certainly a lot of other things going on there. How much does a kidney go for? I don't know, 40, 50 grand to the right buyer? I guess that would depend. How bad does someone need the kidney? Donate. You could donate half your liver too. Territory Battle Pass tomorrow? Should be tomorrow, Darth. Should be tomorrow. Nobody says it has to be your organs. Well, look, we don't want to promote that on here, okay? This is a family stream. We're not talking about organ harvesting and any black market organ dealing. Gonna have to go to Jakarta for that. Just saying. Or Macau. Yeah, you've had 24 hours to figure out what territories have the new buffs that you want, and then try and figure out what you can actually take. Not enough time to coordinate things really with other alliances, which is what they want, because they don't want people making agreements on stuff. They want people fighting, because fighting equals profit. All right, we covered territories. We covered Syndicate. We covered the event store. We covered territory research. Let's go look at one of the other negative things right now, and that would be the new G5 Armadas. Actually, I'm going to do this first. Let's go look at some G5 Armadas and some G5 Armada bundles. I know this is completely the wrong crew, but I just need something for the warp range right now. All right, so I need you. I doubt I'm going to be able to find any in these systems, but hey, you never know. You to go to there. We'll send you there. And I'll send you to like here. Okay. While those guys are flying to their respective destinations, let's go ahead and take a minute and talk about these new bundles, these G5 bundles. We've already talked before about how bad the G4 bundles are by comparison because the costs are really high and the stuff you get in them is essentially crap. 5 Armada directives, 10 Armada directives, terrible for sourcing Armada directives, and very low payouts in terms of actual resources. And just to cover that point one more time, here's a one chest pull for 750,000, and I got 3 rare directives, 45 explorer parts, and a bunch of common crap. Absolute garbage. And you look at the rare, 450 rare tactical cores. This is a drop in the bucket when you need tens of thousands of, 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 of these things to do upgrades to your Armada control center. Once you get it above, into the mid 40s, the number really jumps up exponentially, and it becomes a paywall for you too. Because in order to move up ops level, you have to have your ACC at some point in your mid 40s, has to be up to 45. I think for you to go to ops 50, your ACC has to be at least 45. So you will run into this. And then you've got very poor officer sourcing in here. Most of the time it's one off per chest bundle. It could be 1/5 of 11. It could be 1/10 of 11. It could be one Curon shard. It's just bad. The amount of credits you get are pretty bad. The epic office Armada directive sourcing is bad, and the cost is 6 times as much. For 30,000, I can do a 6 chest bundle of the 3-star and get 150 to 200 epic Armada directives. Whereas here, I get very little for a very high cost. Very high cost. The epic one is at least partially worth it because it helps you source G4 ship blueprints in your 40s. It'll have the uncommons, it'll have the mining ships. Eventually, as you move up, it'll have your rares, and then eventually it'll have your epics. It's 80,000, which is at least doable. And you're also getting the opportunity to get the same 450 you get out of the rare bundle, but you could get up to 500 of the tactical cores, so it could help move you things along a little bit faster. Lube points out that it's 45 to go to Ops 51. Okay, I thought it was 50, but it's 51. Thank you for that correction. And then as you move, when you want to go to Ops 57, you have to have your ACC all the way to level 50, which I think is what it currently maxes out at and gets you your 7th Armada slot. Now we get to our new bundles. And we said, this one is like 25,000. This one was 750,000. Here we have our new G5 Uncommon Pack for a whopping 2.5 million. And what does it give you? Crap, crap, repair crap, a small amount of G5 materials. When you need 20,000 to do a building upgrade, getting 110 is crap. Small amounts of rare, small amounts of epics, small amounts of ship parts. Crap, crap, more crap. G5 rare? Well, hey, at least here you're getting 3 times as much of the rare tactical cores. So if I'm going to spend 200,000 and get 450, or I could spend 300,000 and get 14 or 1800, this seems like a better option than those other ones. And you get, the same amount of Armada directives. As far as officer sourcing goes, at least here it's officers you don't really have a regular way to source. You've got the whole Picard crew. The Doctor is also here. Similar amounts of credits, very low amounts of credits, low amounts of officer XP, and a badge. So really, you're essentially buying this bundle because you're getting way more of these, which is what you need to get the building up. People have been complaining for 2 years, 3 years about rare Armada tactical cores being way too slow to source. We keep asking for them in event stores so people can source and upgrade their buildings faster. Instead, they gave us this solution, whereas we have to do more rare Armadas than we already are in order to source them in larger amounts. And lastly, we get to our Epic Armada pack. Bear in mind, these will all be slightly different if you're, 51 versus 54, where I am, versus, upper 50s or even 60s. These players will see different, slightly differences within the packs. Lastly, our Epic Armada pack. Well, I went from 80,000 to 100,000. That's not a very big increase at where I am ops level wise. I go from 500 up to 2,000 here. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we're talking about some actual bigger numbers here. Instead of getting 150, like is what is offered over in the rare bundle, I'm getting up to 1,000, 1,500, maybe even 2,000 if I'm lucky. Some bigger numbers of rares and epic materials, bigger numbers of faction credits. These are some large faction credit bundles. Plus, you've got lots of ship blueprints. Based on my ops level, I'm seeing the 52 and 53 uncommons, the 56 rares, and the 58 rare mining ships are also here for me, with the possibility of getting a full pull of one of the uncommons. Snowball's chance in hell, but hey, at least it's there. So this is this one's kind of splits the difference. I feel like this one actually has some value to it, much like the G4 Epic Pack has some value to it, especially, we know, getting good credits, getting good ship blueprints, possibly starting to source ships that are ahead of me. This one I'm not upset about. You know, the single chest pull for 100K, not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. By the way, don't start any Armadas today. There's an event like tomorrow or Thursday, or a 2-day event tomorrow and Thursday. So don't start any Armadas today. Coincidentally, if you have any Armadas left to start after they did such a great job of cleaning us out with all of those huge shards that they gave us over the last couple weeks. But we said right then, we know there's another event coming in the new arc that's going to be Armada heavy. But how good could the rewards for that event be that they would be worth more than 120 or 240 hue shards? I guess we'll have to cross our fingers and hope that we were right with that gamble. Now, let's look at our new Armadas. Actually, let's look at our old Armada first. If there's any up. Okay, so there happens to be a couple in this system right here. So we can see here our 49 uncommon. Source is 671K. The rare, 177,000. And the epic here, 129,000. This is just the loot here, plus there's a setter's chest. There's another handy dandy chart for that. If only someone did that video. Yeah, that guy put his video out like 2 hours ago. I didn't have time to watch all of it yet because then he started streaming like 20 minutes after he put the video out. It was like, God damn it, I didn't have time to watch this yet. But there is a handy video out about that. I think it's, well, what's the guy's name? I don't know, Squirrel Man? I think it's on Squirrel Man's channel, yeah. He's really big into nature. 129,000 for the epics. Now we hop over to our new systems. What are we looking at here with, oh, first off, let's look at some of the power too. Let's try and do a power comparison, right? So 49 here, it's 240K. The rare, 400K. And an epic is 550. And now we look at our new 52 uncommon, 978 million. Nearly 4 times as strong. But you're getting almost 4 times the payout in terms of the Armada credits. So your opportunity to source some very large numbers. Let's take a look at the DPR. Let's scan it. Damage per round, 14.6 million. What's our hull health? 235 million. What do we got here on this big thing? Damage per round going from 14.6 up to 19.8. So it's like a 33% increase in damage output. Not doing any isolytic damage though. And as far as hull health goes, well, these things are over 1 billion hull health. So there's also going to take a while to chew through all that. Now these also, I do believe, they do. Once combat starts, this thing loses isolytic defense. So if you have ways of doing isolated damage, from all those artifacts you've been sourcing and things like that, or those new handy dandy officers, i.e. Catherine Janeway, you can pick up the isolatic damage, which will help you churn through this thing a lot faster. And as such, you will get 4 times the rewards. Now, we'll talk about this right now. So far, today, the setter's chests have been disappointing because the amount of credits being earned is not at all proportional to the amount of credits you're getting here. These are very front-loaded in terms of what the Armada drops and not so much based on what the chest drops. This is entirely the Voyager effect. They know people got Voyager up to a couple tiers, can get all the way out here very easily, and they don't want players in their low to mid 40s getting millions and millions of Armada credits, especially rare and epic Armada credits, in the low 40s by sourcing large amounts of these things. So instead of having it be, what did we say? The epic, like the epic here, drops 129,000. And then I think the setter's chest drops like another 80k. So the person setting it gets a huge reward compared to everybody else. In this one, I think if we have a 54 epic. I believe I saw a graphic. I think Olympus posted this screenshot earlier. He did one of these, and I think he got like 50 something thousand. Let me go find it real quick. I want to make sure I'm giving a correct number. His setter's chest had 28,000 in it, which is very low by comparison to some of the other armadas. So he got 28,000 from his setter's chest when there's 525,000 available up for grabs in the actual armada. So the people who are doing all the heavy lifting, because this thing's 3.5 million strength, as compared to this thing here, which is what, a million? 550. So it's 7 times as strong, going from a 51 to a 54. There's a huge increase, almost 5 times as much in terms of the loot that's given out here. But the setter's chest is smaller, significantly. Because they don't want people basically taking their Voyagers, like I said, flying out here, setting these, letting, your Alliance level 60s come over and do all the heavy lifting and kill these things, and lower level players getting large amounts of these credits. So that's why they front loaded it all here. So whoever's got the most power, because that's how Armada credits are divided. They're divided by power, not by damage done. Although usually they're synonymous, but not always. So the guy who's got the most power going to be the one getting the bulk of the rewards. And just for poops and giggles, same 10% damage reduction. If we're looking at damage per round for the epic, well, now we're up to 52 million damage per round. That's a lot. And now we're looking at 4 billion hull health. It's a considerable upgrade as well from what we were looking at down below. But these are also intended to be done by players with G5 ships, not Voyagers and Fishes and things that they flew out here. So they've kind of reverse engineered these new armadas a little bit to de-incentivize players from coming out here below their ops level, and getting larger rewards. And in case you're curious, we can look at some of the higher level ones, even bigger. Here's a 57. That's up to 5.5 million, but it's giving out 5.5 million credits. You look at a 58, that's over 6 million now, but it's giving out 1.8 million credits. That's a lot of credits. And if there's an epic up here, there is an epic up here. Well, this thing's nearly 8 million. It's giving out over 1 million in epic credits. And still has the same 10% reduction. And its DPR is 120 million per round. Damage? Damage is millions with an M. Hull health is billions with a B. 8 billion. Oh, as far as power goes, yeah, that's 8 billion. Well, M's and B's always kind of sound, millions and billions kind of slur together sometimes, graphics, but I will try and enunciate a little more clearly for you. Darth, someone in your alliance tested this earlier. Doing G4s versus G5s. He got 40% more rewards on the G4s. Sounds about right. His setter's chests are going to be bigger. And on the G5 armadas, the larger players are just going to gobble up the dropped loot. Coincidentally, the dropped loot is also where you get the multipliers from your research buffs, your 5 of 11, your doctor below decks. So that's where you're going to see even more. Actually, as long as I'm right here, I should go map that system. So that's the new Armada stuff. Again, not terribly exciting. Only really applies to a select group of players who are really going to benefit from it, being the players 53 plus. Because if you don't have G3, G5 uncommon ships, you're probably not killing these things, and you're not being very successful at gaining loot from it. If you're a lower level player, there's not that incentive to go out here and to try and target some of these things in these higher level areas. Yeah, yeah. On the yeah, the big 50 guys are saying thank you. They're very excited that the player took the Voyager, flew it out here, and set a 52 or a 54, 555 Armada for them, because they're going to get way more loot from doing it. But that particular player is going to end up shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. They're taking one for the team. You're helping out your whales, maybe paying them back for all the help they've given you. I don't know. So there's our Armada stuff. I'm going to take a break for a quick second, catch my breath. I feel like I've been talking nonstop for a little while. Do you guys have any questions or comments about any of this stuff? GP's mad they started a Syndicate event on day one. Well, we always complain that it's never on the calendar, right? Well, they found a way to stop that. Just put it day one before the calendar's even released. By the way, if you do have questions about the calendar, Lube did do a video on it. It's on his YouTube page. I don't know if I still have the... No, I don't still have the link for it. But just go over to his YouTube page. You can check out the video. He goes through the whole event calendar, talks about some of the events that are coming up. Did they fix the graphic on this, or is it still screwed up? Nope, it's still screwed up. I don't know, somebody didn't do their color change properly and kind of foobarred the second half of the calendar. So now you can't see up here where you can very clearly see, what do I have to do? Defeat hostiles. What do I get for it? Oh, I get this stuff. Excuse me. And this is going to help do all your kind of stuff. Well, down here, it's just all smattered together. Boo. But we do have a couple of Syndicate events. There's one of them I just saw. Increasing power. This one right here. Inside information. It's a week-long event. Collecting Syndicate XP through daily claims. Interesting. Maybe now we know why they're giving us more events than we can possibly do, right? You need to do 15 events for Freeman, but maybe they're giving us a few extras because some of them are going to be harder than others to actually complete. Killing Texas class ships, all this other stuff. There are Armada events on here. There's ticket events on here. We've got a Jelly Pursuit, two Jelly Pursuits and Jelly Brawls, and one Parabellum again this month. So, Graphics is upset, saying why the F would they change the dynamic, not be able to get help from whales? You can still get help from whales. It just doesn't benefit you as much anymore. It benefits the whale more than it benefits the other person. I mean, what would I get for starting a 60? I don't know. A 60 epic, holy crap, that's 28 billion. Gives out 1.9 million credits. I don't know what the starter's chest is for this, but if I had a couple 60s out here and they crushed this thing and took it down, it would be interesting. And I'm sure we'll have a chart in a few days that'll tell us what these setters' chests are worth. So, yeah, if you're not drowning in directives and things like that, and obviously setting the higher level stuff is only, there isn't the big benefit to setting the Armada. It's the benefit for killing the Armada. Setting it is going to come through be more valuable for events, which there probably are a couple of this month. All right, what's left? Let's go with another bad thing, and then we'll wrap up with the good note. Officers, the new officers. Let's go look at the new officers. And then we'll talk about sourcing for them. New officers. We got 3 of them. We've got Alonzo Freeman, who, as a flag officer, doesn't have a captain's maneuver because he's an admiral, so he should never be commanding a ship anymore, right? He should just be sitting behind his desk, yelling at people to go do their thing. He's got an officer ability, which is a cargo boost. Now, his is a 20% boost to start with. His scales up better than some of the other officers. If we go look at our particular officers, 4 of 11 starts at 40%. He scales all the way up to 60% in terms of cargo boost. Stan starts at 20%, but only goes up to 40%. So Stan goes from 20 to 40. Borg Stan goes from 40 to 60 for an epic. Senior Freeman over here starts at 20, the same as Stan, but he scales all the way up to 55. So he almost gets as high as a maxed epic. He's just 5% short, which is very weird. But I guess they had to make him useful somehow. So this scales up incredibly well, and obviously will earn him a spot on certain ships, whether you're doing mining crews or, amalgam crews or Voyager crewing, to get your cargo size as big as possible for doing things like that. And you've got his below deck ability, which gives you an increase in reputation gain. So unlike Harry Kim, who takes up an officer slot to do this and will never be used, Freeman below decks giving you an extra 30, 40, 50% to your reputation gains will very likely be valuable at any ops level. But since we know that they're about to release some other brand new huge content, right? G6 content, raising the level cap from level 60 plus. It also means they're going to push the reputation gains and caps higher. So you'll go from 15 billion, maybe all the way up to like 50 billion or 100 billion for the next cap. So anything you can do to get higher output of that from below deck slots is going to make that path easier. This particular officer is sourced 100% through events. As long as you do the meta, this Friends in High Places event, looks like there's going to be one event every single day, but it's like a 19 to 20 day event. So there may be more than 15 events. So if you miss one, you might still have an opportunity to do an extra one somewhere down the road to still get everything you need. It's not a all or nothing the way 10D was, or was supposed to be. They did a makeup event and gave everyone one extra chance. So if you came up one short, 10D got at least a little bit of a chance. This one might have a little more of a wiggle room. You might get 3 or 4 extra events than what you need to do in order to get Freeman sourced. GP, thank you for the bits. And then we've got our other 2 new officers. If I just do, well, they're not in lower deck groups, are they? Because they're probably Dr. Ta'ana. There we go. Again, no captain's ability. Lower deck, officer ability. Round start, 40% chance to apply a random state to the enemy player's ship for 3 rounds. So you can give them hull breach, you can give them burning, or you could even give them morale, thus making them better. No thank you. Can't imagine why you would possibly want to do this and risk giving your opponent morale, making them stronger. The only real perk of doing it would be for synergy with Freeman. But 40% is pretty low. It's a 3-round thing, but still, you could miss round 1 or round 2, in which case then you are not getting a big bonus there. Below decks, boosting your isolating defense by 50% just across the board, no matter what ship she's on. Not very specific, doesn't require anything. It's just a flat out, here's a big isolatic defense boost. This is pretty good. This is, I guess, intended to be the counter to all of the new issues with Freeman and Ransom and Billups and things that they've added, is that the Doctor below deck would be the one to mitigate some of that extra damage. And just because I'm curious about synergy, what does Carol get from synergy? 5%. On combat start, she gives you an extra 100% shots. Oh, now she'd give you 105%. Not really worth it. The math doesn't really make sense there. Now, obviously, you need to have them be in a state in order for this bonus to trigger and do all your extra damage. But there's other officers that you'd better off using. Lorca's more reliable. Giorgio is more reliable for burning. Lorca for hull breach. Or put the Borg officers below deck and do the assimilated. Again, not really working on round 1 because you have to do some damage to them first before this triggers. But I think you're still better off here with burning and hull breach. And then we get to our last officer, Shax, who is considered part of the battleship strike team, much like Ransom and Billups are part of their respective strike teams. On round start, if he's on a battleship and they have burning, so this is where he doesn't work with the battleship strike team because of the way La'an triggers. La'an doesn't apply burning in round 1 because you have to hit them with weapons for her to trigger burning. So round 1, he's not doing anything. Round 2, if you've applied burning in round 1, he's now boosting your cascade damage cascade damage, 60%, and that's going to scale up pretty significantly here. So this could be some large numbers of damage if you can get that burning applied. And that may open the door for some alternate crewing, where you see Giorgio possibly used to trigger it right off the bat. Hey, Just Q, thank you for the bits. And then if you have him below deck, if he's on the Explorer and the Explorer has morale, he increases your isolytic defense by X%, starting at 40%. So you can have this guy or Billups or Ransom on their respective ships with the right trigger and get a 40% bonus. And then you can combo that up with the Doctor, Ta'ana, who also gives you an extra 50% isolytic defense. And hopefully that'll let you live more than 1 or 2 rounds to actually inflict some damage back on your opponent and offset some of the other isolytic cascade bonuses that the other officers are giving. Are they worth spending on? It's hard to say because this is a game of rock, paper, scissors. And this is very much a game of, all right, well, you've got officers that boost isolytic defense right here. Well, if people didn't buy the previous officers last month, they don't have these big bonuses to isolytic damage. So then you don't need the defense to stop that. It's highly likely that some of the players did get those officers. So then you have to stop and think, how much of a reduction am I getting? Is this even going to make a difference? If I get a 50 or 90% reduction to isolytic defense, am I going to be able to counter the amount of isolytic offense that they're getting? And that is a question for somebody who has a little more time to actually do all that math. I'm sure as the month goes on and we get more of these officers sourced, we'll actually get some of these battle logs and see exactly how things play out. Denver saying use Freeman with Shax and Giorgio on a Tribune. Well, Shax, if it's on burning, boosting your isolytic cascade damage. We know Freeman boosts your isolytic cascade damage as long as they have one of those states. Giorgio, given you burning, certainly would trigger one of those, both that state that they both need. So now you're getting that big isolytic damage multiplier, which it explains right there for you. And then if you're on a Tribune, burning then triggers extra shots, which kind of tends to just then go a little crazy. So I like it. I think it sounds like a good crew, for sure. Now you just got to find a way to source Shax. And the officer sourcing this month is not very good. Let's see if we can find it here in the calendar. This is all the Freeman stuff. These are some of the additional events. Hailing frequencies. Here's your spend event. So this first weekend, we have a Recruit Dr. Ta'ana SMS Heroic only. No SLB. You want Ta'ana? There is no SLB paying out additional shards. And maybe the SMS has enough, but from what I hear, the SMS may only have half. If it's similar to other SMSs, like we had last month, you might only be able to get half of Ta'ana here, in which case then you are going to have to spend to get the rest of Ta'ana. Week 2, we get Shax, who does have an SLB and an SMS. So weekend 2, there might be some upside there. Weekend 3, There is an event. It is not on the calendar. They're doing the mystery event again, where essentially they want to see how weeks 1 and 2 go and how officers, how many people are sourcing the officers, how people are feeling about the officers, and then they'll decide just exactly what type of officer rewards and milestones and stuff to put in the event for the end of the month. Could it have both of them again, like the last one did? Sure. Could it be an XSLB and tie in with incursions and have even more spots and higher milestones? Sure. Could it have all 3 officers in it and you might get a chance to level up Alonzo Freeman? Maybe. Could it be one of the things where they put, you know, a bunch more Shax shards in the lower milestones, and then the top milestone has Ta'ana shards. So if you actually need the Ta'ana shards to finish up unlocking her here, you have to grind through a bunch more Shax before you get to the Ta'ana milestone that you need it, like they did last month with Ransom and Billups. Probably. SMS is 50? Yeah. That's kind of what I thought I heard that something this morning. I'm talking about that. So this first SMS is only going to unlock half of Ta'ana, and you're going to have to wonder, where am I getting the rest? Well, there aren't many in the Battle Pass. What do we have for Ta'ana shards in here? There's a handful of Shax. There's no Ta'ana shards in the top half. And if you come down here, there's virtually no, there's 15 here in the bottom. So you're still 35 short. Now, you could get lucky in your event store. Ta'ana is available there. What do we get when we try and do one of these pulls? Well, I got my 1.4 million ISO. I got these little bits of this. I got one Alonzo Freeman. This is the Dabo gamble at its finest. You've got 4 officers. Drop rate is probably slightly higher on the rares than the epics. So you've got a chance of getting no officers. Then if you get an officer pull, you're more likely to get them probably than you are to get them. And then even if you do get one of these, it's still 50-50 whether you get the Ta'ana shard you want or you get another Shax shard. So, realistically speaking, this is consistent through all the packs. So really you're just buying whatever you want over here. Whatever pays you out the best. And for those of you who missed the beginning of the show, Territory Bundle paying out the highest in terms of this ISO emulsion, which is going to help with a lot of research and possibly sourcing your Monaveen blueprints. The Crystal payout here is nearly double what the ore and gas payouts are, so that makes the Crystal Bundle more valuable. And the Away Team Bundle actually seems like it's giving out less trade XP than usual. There's a couple of speed ups in here which are nice, but this bundle seems like it's the most deficient, so I'm less inclined to get this. I would probably go Territory first, at least for a bunch, to stock up on this ISO so I can do all kinds of research. And then probably move over here to Crystal, just because even though I might need 1 or 2 of these other resources a little bit more, I need them all eventually to do upgrades. And if this is paying out double, well, I might as well stock up on this while I can. Plus, Tritanium's good for building up our ship upgrades and stuff too, so. Event upcoming for spending credits? There probably is, yep. So don't spend it now. I did it just for, display purposes. That's why I only did the one. I'm sure there's one on here for spending. I forget exactly when it is. It'd be easier to see if they put them all in the right thing. Collect, increase your power, defeat hostiles, defeat PvP, give helps, contribute to your alliance, defeat hostiles, kill Borg probes. This is the active takeover. Earn points, spending minutes in your alliance's active takeovers. So just showing up to help other people, not going to do anything for you if your alliance isn't participating. Defeat hostiles, defeat hostiles, defeat hostiles. Increase power, kill Texas ships. Defeat hostiles, defeat worms, defeat hostiles, mine stuff. Do PvP. Here's your spend events. That's the new prime we didn't talk about yet. Use replicator tokens in the event store. Okay, here you go. It's October 10th through the 13th. So that's next week, because today's what, the 4th? The 3rd. So next Tuesday. So you got a week to stock up on your event store stuff. Earn through events, challenge other commanders, get closer to unlocking officer ransom. Score by using tokens. Just in case you were curious, yes, you can buy more tokens. They are currently available right here in 2 different bundles. And I'm sure if they're giving out ransom shards, people will be spending on these. So $20 gets you 24,000. $100 gets you 120,000. So it's 5 times the cost for 5 times the payout. So there's our officer and our officer sourcing metas and events this month. The last thing on the agenda to talk about, the only thing we haven't covered yet, Forbidden Tech got some much needed updates after David, I couldn't think of his name, David from Scopely, casually agreed with DJ that Forbidden Tech was a big miss. They made some revisions to Forbidden Tech and the whole upgrade process. First off, number 1, they removed the cap. So whereas tiering up this epic was hard capped at 65%, by the way, this was not in the patch notes this morning. Eco realized that during his, after it was pointed out to him during the podcast with DJ this morning, he did go back and update the patch notes, so it should be in there now. But instead of being hard capped at 65%, this was raised, so now based on your tech level, it would be, you could go even higher, whereas mine right now is 100% if I wanted to tier that up. So there's a lot less of a gamble there. If this one here, trying to upgrade it, it used to be like 65%, 70% success chance. Well, now it's 99% for me to try and get this. Now, there's still a small fraction of a chance I could miss, and I would be fuming if I missed that 0.06% chance, but it could certainly happen. If I should miss, the very first time you miss, your Q's favor upgrade chance goes up 10%. If you fail again after that, it will go up 5% each additional time you fail. Your Q's benevolence. So if I go find something, maybe, well, this is over 100%. I think they actually have to give me back if I fail. I think they have to actually give me something there. And you can see my, oh, it's because of my Q's benevolence. Because I tried to upgrade this at 65% and I failed. So now, based on this, it pumped it up to 99%, and now my Q's benevolence is reflecting the 10% gain. So now I definitely can't fail upgrading that one. And if I go look at something maybe a little higher tiered, yeah, so even this, I think, was in like the 70s for me. Showing a significant upgrade here, still at 99%. So these things have a much higher success rate now. That is a big change. It took them a couple months, but we appreciate them recognizing that this missed the mark and that these caps were off. Now, again, this is all going to be based on your Forbidden Tech level. So obviously you guys may not be seeing 99, 100% if your if your assessment rank is lower. Mine's only 10 million. I've done the first and second tiers completely. And I'm seeing some pretty substantial gains there. The other thing is they did add a couple of new techs here. We got Agamus. More bonuses to hostiles, critical damage, ISO damage. This is the one that you source through the Forbidden Tech. I think Berserker Complex is also new. This is isolytic damage against armadas for interceptors. And critical damage. This is basically interceptors go crazy against armadas. And you probably have it for the other ones as well. Yeah, there's Explorer, there's Battleship. So, hey, they put some new big armadas in the game. And those armadas have a weakness and a vulnerability to isolytic damage. So here is some new forbidden tech for each class of ship that also give you more damage against those armadas. The Breen Energy Dampener. If it's on the Mantis, you're getting more Axion Venom and critical hit damage. So this is a very specific Mantis one, perhaps to encourage people to not have to use alternative ships for sourcing their Axion materials. Boosting cargo capacity, more critical damage, more mitigation, so you're taking less damage, more reward being paid out. So that people won't be using their Talios or using their G4 epics to kill those things. These might have been here already. The Ferengi Energy Whip, I know, is another new one. This one boosts the Fisha. Get more output here. This is for attacking stations. And this one is even more cargo capacity, also boosting the Amalgam's cargo capacity and the Amalgam's power effectiveness. So if we're going to make base raiding harder or give people even more ops levels where they're going to be getting more trillions and trillions of resources, well, we better give a boost to the Amalgam so players can steal those from them, right? Well, here you go. Here's another new forbidden tech that will make the Amalgam even more effective. Good changes with forbidden tech. Overall, very good changes. Graphics, there's a lot of events. How many TC events will there be? I don't know that there will be regular like TC events. I think it'll be sort of a static thing, like, hey, participate in takeovers and get points. And it won't be like a daily thing that you'll have to do stuff. Maybe there'll be some daily events, but I think it's just going to be like a, 30-day event or 60-day event where it's participate in an active takeover, get X points. For every minute that you are part of it, you get a point. And then you need, 1,000 points to get to the milestones. So it'll take you multiple takeovers in order to get there. Thank you, Just Q. Stewie says, it almost looks like an arc that's dedicated to changing the behavior of players in certain elements of the game. Mantis, territory, armada boosting, etc. We don't want you to play that way. It very much seems like that way. It very much seems like they created their rules and thought this is how we think our game is going to go. And the player said, screw that, we found other ways to do these things that we're going to do that works out better for us. And so their response is, after months and or years of some of these mechanics, is, okay, that's fine. We're going to change the rules. I think the players are still going to find ways to get around stuff. There's more of us than there are of you currently. Currently. Keep things up. Who knows how this could go? But there are currently more of us than there are of you, and when we start putting our heads together, we come up with some really good ideas. Ace, you have a 115% chance to level up now. Awesome. Excuse me. Just Q might sound crazy, but now knowing that the Monaveen is accessed through territory capture, you think the 99 bucks you spent was worth it. It's certainly easier to justify spending the money this time around for sure. Because the free to play path is so much more difficult than, say, Voyager or the Titan or the Defiant have been. That spending the money to get the unlock is going to save you a lot more time and frustration. Which is conveniently why it's up for sale again. Yep, if you didn't buy it last month, I saw it this morning on my free-to-play account over here, which I'm just going to load up real quick, that the Monaveen is available again for another $99 pack. Now that they've revealed the path, if you're like, screw that, I don't feel like waiting another 6, 9, 12, 14 months, whatever the case may be, they're like, perfect, you don't have to. Here it is for sale. Now, there aren't the events to upgrade the Monaveen the way that there were last month. There isn't the incentive to buy it, the other rewards and things that they were given currently. So the players who bought it last month got the extra bonuses out of that. Anyone buying it this month, they're just starting. Hey, I've got the ship. Now I've got to go through the process of, getting the materials and doing the daily upgrades and stuff. It was here this morning. Did they take it down already? It's not here now. Interesting. It was here this morning, so maybe they pulled it. Maybe they got taken down already or expired already. I don't know. Oh, but here's the new Prime, which is the last thing we didn't talk about. As long as I'm in this account, I'll just take a look real quick. Yeah, because I took a screenshot of it this morning and put it in when DJ was doing his podcast. Oh, what's this? An official announcement from Scopely. What does it say? Sorry for any inconvenience. The additional fleet commander slot is back for sale if anyone is interested. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay. Well, I gotta go find this because now it's gonna bother me. Would have been from this morning. Thank you very much, somebody who just threw some bits in the jar. Just trying to find this graphic that I posted from this morning because this is the part where Eco said, I hate this game, and we all clipped it and basically made it think like he's talking about he hates Star Trek Fleet Command. He was talking about something different, but you know. Nobody really needs context anymore, but just snaps their clickbait little headline and off we go. Come on, where did it go? Where did it go? I'm sure there's an easy way on Discord to just search and see all my posts, but I feel like there used to be a way to do that, and I'm already committed at this point from the scrolling, so I'm just going to keep going until I find it. And wonder why it's... There it is. Yeah, so this was this morning at 9:30. Didn't have a timer on it. Was certainly available for $100 in the store. Don't know why they pulled it. But it did get pulled out of the store. So, it's not there now. Don't know where it came from. Oh, thanks, Ace. But it's not in the store anymore. It's in the ships tab. It wasn't in the ships tab, so maybe they moved it. Alright, well there it is. Thank you, Denver Stone. I guess they moved it. Don't know why they moved it to the ships tab. It was front and center this morning. I guess they had to make room for some of these other bundles, the Fleet Commander and the new Prime, and they bumped it out because it was right there front and center this morning. But that makes sense. They had to make room for the new shiny thing, so they kicked out the old crusty thing. So there you go. And what is this new Prime Armada bundle? It's in the Galaxy tab. Is that where that is? +1 refine when claiming G4 and G5 Armada bundles from the Armada store, from the Alliance store. So you'll get an extra roll. So if you do the one chest open, you'll actually get 2 chests. You'll get double the rare tactical cores. That'll certainly make it worth it for a lot of people trying to move up. As far as the other rewards and things like that, maybe extra ship blueprints could be helpful. The officers probably are still going to be single rolls, so that's not really all that great. but you know, the couple of things you're going to get more of, you're going to be happy about, and a couple things you're going to get more of and be like, yep, I just have a bigger pile of garbage. So, you know, if that's worth $100 to you, feel free to make your investment as you see fit. But that is going to wrap things up for me this evening. Let's see if anybody else is online. Doesn't look like it. Let's just scan through and see if there's any other fleet commanders out there. People streaming the game. Sponsored stream, sponsored stream. Yeah, just a couple of sponsored streams, it looks like. So, all right. Well, we're going to wrap things up for the evening then. Thank you very much to everybody who tuned in and watched this evening. I hope you learned some things about the new arc. I know I learned a couple things too while going through all this stuff, talking it out with you guys. We'll be back on Thursday evening. We'll see what kind of events we've got going, how the arc is starting to unfold. Territories will have started to take over by then, and maybe we'll start to see what some of the territory battle pass, season pass thing looks like. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you back here Thursday night. If I don't, see you around the galaxy first. Take it easy, everybody.